everyone, and welcome to another FME Fireside with the DE team here at Abley. Today we've got myself, Hamish, Todd and Chris, and today we're going to have a wee chat around FME 2023 and some of the new things that we've found in the beta. And I'm going to pass straight away to Todd because he's the one who has played the most with it. Chris and I have both watched the webinar on it, and Todd hasn't, but Todd has the most hands-on experience with the beta, so I'm sure he's got a lot of things to tell us.
Well, not a lot of things, but one of the first things that I noticed in Mark's post last Wednesday was the inclusion of conditional parameters. And if you've been around FME a long time, you have probably been wanting those conditional parameters for a long time. And I think we're forced safe to rebuild how they make parameters to be able to achieve this. And we're now getting some of that stuff, and that stuff is awesome. So
Definitely.
Just in terms of making it user-friendly, to be able to actually understand what bits need to be entered for what. Safe themselves have had it when they've built those transformers that they have where there's certain conditions, but actually putting it out to the user's hands now gives us a lot of potential to build really nice processes and custom transformers that work seamlessly with whatever user we have that comes along. And so actually it kind of inspired me to basically I had a custom transformer that I wanted to build, and usually I build them quite a few years old. So usually I start off in about 2019 when I build a custom transformer, because I know that it's going to work on basically any version that our clients use or anything like that, and I won't need to port it backwards. But with the conditional opportunity, I decided actually I would move straight on to 2023 before it's been released and build the transformer in the 2023 version. And it doesn't disappoint. Just from playing around with it again, I started to understand how it works and the options that are available. It's a nice switch.
And it makes your transformers look a lot more standard.
Yes.
Because typically I've tried to avoid it as much as possible, but sometimes with custom transformers that you've built yourself, you end up with not dozens, but many more parameters than you actually need, because you're trying to cater for different use cases of that. So say I've got the iterative snipper, where you've got multiple ways you can snip, but there's only some settings that are applicable to each.
Yes, and I mean actually one of the ones that I can think of this being very useful for is a metadata transformer we've got, where it is huge, so many input fields. Well, now we can actually go, if we've got this, then open this up and get a user to enter more info, rather than having it all straight in their face. So I think around this custom transformer that we've just been building, as Hamish alludes to, it is a rebuild of the iterative snipper to cater for, well, firstly, running a hell of a lot quicker. It's about 3 times faster than the current iterative snipper, and does exactly the same outcome of the iterative snipper. But also adding a whole bunch of different type of snip or clip operations to that process. So the repetitive snipper is basically a rebuild of the iterative snipper. We had a process that was running a little bit slowly with the iterative snipper, and Chris said,
make it faster.
Well, he didn't say make it faster. He said it's probably the iterative snipper.
I pointed out what the problem was.
Yeah. And so I went and looked at the iterative snipper and how we could potentially improve it to do exactly the same things, but to do it quicker. And as Hamish is flying around on the screen, you can see that we have now got the conditional abilities within it Plus, we've got a few more different options around different types of snips and clips you can undertake, such as moving windows, etc. So basically, that conditional stuff allows you to go looking at that top choice parameter and going, if it is this, then open this box.
So yeah, if it's
and
move that to the side so you guys can
that.
actually see it. See, as you can see, like moving window, it will have the moving window box open, and you go shorten to length, it will have the shorten to length box open.
And the beauty about the conditional parameters is they do two things. So you can both, and yeah, it'll be good to see inside. I'll let you open that up. But in terms of if you go to one of those group boxes, and you can see there's a conditional visibility in there, and there is also a conditional, if you do make it a bit wider, there'll be a conditional opening and closing as well.
Oh, right, yeah.
So there's
Because
two.
I noticed that it opened and closed the boxes when you switch the input.
Correct. And so now you've got those kind of opportunities, which is cool that they're being separated. I suppose one of the limitations at the moment would be that you've just got is and is not. So you can't, for instance, put in a range of values that you want to open this particular box up.
Right. So sorry, I'm just going to play around and
Don't make my thing up.
I won't save it, but I just turned off. I think I turned off the hide and show. So now, if we go back into here, maybe I did that, or I turned something off. Maybe it didn't save. Gotta love live demos. What did I change? Yeah, I changed the conditional. Change the conditional state, but that hasn't seemed to update it.
Conditional state,
Yeah.
which means that it's enabled it but hasn't necessarily made it open, because remember those are closed. So you want to turn the other one off.
Ah, right. Did I turn the wrong one off? That's probably why.
So
It's just
you've
Control
disabled enabled the things inside of it, but without making it actually expand.
So if I say turn off conditional visibility,
Yep.
So I'll just turn off, say, on two of them, the top two. Then we can have a look at that different behaviour.
Yep.
And
So
of course now because they're both shown and both enabled, that I actually have to fill them both out, even though I've selected moving
Correct.
window.
Correct. And that was one of the bits I did like, is that once you make it, these are required parameters for each of those things, but you don't need to set conditional methods on each of those inputs. You can set it at the group box level, which makes it a lot easier to do a big change. Let's disable 5 parameters in one go at that group level rather than actually having to do it individually.
Of course, it's going to be easier if I Control Z rather than recreate all of that. But yeah, then going back to the default behaviour, it's now not requiring me to enter something into the divide number of lines, because that has been disabled and it's picked out, hey, because you've disabled this, it's not actually required for your
What I haven't tested, which I'm really interested in, is to see how this plays out in FME server.
You mean FME flow?
FME flow, yes.
Do we need to get a
haven't watched
tip
the video.
jar like Don and Dale did on
But because this will have to flow through the user interface as well.
And it looks like
I'm sure it will do.
yeah, because they did have a snippet in that webinar. Have you come across that part yet? Of showing the flow interface, and it's just it looks exactly like the old server interface, but now with that conditional ability, just in the web UI.
Yep.
So it looks like it flows through really nicely. And of course, you did note that there were a few. I don't want to say areas of improvement, but there's room for expansion on how that conditional.
Correct. So
happens.
back to that is at the moment it's is or is not, and only works with, for instance, a choice where there can be one choice, not multiple. So no doubt the guys at Safe and guys and girls at Safe are busy creating that for the new version. But what is delivered is going to keep me pretty excited for a few weeks anyway.
I mean, it looks like an official transformer. If
Yes.
it wasn't coloured green,
Yes.
you'd think, oh, that's a safe transformer. That would have,
Yeah, I mean that. And then if you bring up something like
generalise it.
or feature merge or something where you've got all your drop downs as well, there's sort of nothing stopping you from beginning to build a more complex
Except
interface.
you can't create those forms
You
yet.
can't create the forms.
So-
but
so-
I think one thing they said in the webinar was that this sets up the base. This new interface sets
Correct.
up the base for beginning to build more and more advanced functionality.
Yes, and one of the ones like table creations, being able to actually build a table parameter out into the front end of a custom transformer would be one that I've come across, which I'd use. So where you're selecting multiple columns, a bit like the feature merger there, where you can grow things down in your requesters and supplier list, but being able to do that same thing in a custom transformer.
Yeah, that would be pretty cool. I think there are, and I'm going back to what I said before. That sets massive groundwork.
It's a
for them
big change. It's a big change
to build it. Yeah.
Yep.
And lots of big changes coming in.
Yes.
I mean,
Always is though.
flow for cloud,
I need to open up
flow hosted. Sorry.
I need to open up the 2006 version of FME and just look at the differences.
Well, you've probably still got that installed somewhere, haven't you?
Yeah, probably got that at home somewhere. Yeah.
But yeah, no, it should be exciting to see some of the new things come out, and I'm looking forward to. One of the things that I noted in the webinar was that they talked about scripting of FME server installs, and that's actually a shameless plug here. That's actually going to be one of the things I'm going to talk about in Bonn, but I might have to revisit that and see how it's done in 2023 to actually talk about something that's current, not something that's going to be 6 months old by the time that comes around.
Yep.
So that will be exciting to see.
Yes.
Oh well, I think that sums up our first initial thoughts of 2023. I'm sure over time, as we begin to dive into it a bit more and it comes out of beta, we'll have a lot more thoughts and
like from the webinar, I like the look of just the expanded use of upsert across other things.
Yes.
When that's been a big change for me with FME 2022 and now more writers. Also, the expanded SQL use for geodatabases.
yes,
finally,
I did see them mention that. I thought you'd be excited.
It's tired of having to use a feature reader and you have to drop all that. Read in two tables and join them together and drop all the attributes off. It's like, no, just write one SQL statement and it's faster.
Yep. Lots of, and no, they did touch on some speed improvements as well, but didn't really go into depth of what the actual metrics were. So that's exciting to see. I mean, that's one thing that they've always, Safe has always sort of not encouraged, but
each version should always be faster.
it should always be faster than the last one. And I remember some big jumps from the 2017 to 2018. That was pretty massive, and then each year it's just got more and more use of the the feature tables, implementing that, and building on that. So that should be really exciting.
Bulk mode.
Yeah, bulk mode. That's it.
Yep.
Oh well, so yeah, that I think that wraps it up quite nicely. So we've been the DE team at Abley. Thank you for joining us for another FME Fireside. So that's Chris, Todd, and Hamish, and we will catch you in the next one.